A while back I did a video on how best to use your attack cards in the most efficient way. The video showed you how you could go into the journal to see some of the Keyblade stats that aren't common knowledge. The stats shown in the journal had tiers like A, B, C and D, and I showed what they actually meant. In this video we'll be building on the concept and ideas presented in the first video, so it is recommended that you watch that one first. While it is possible to check the damage, break recovery and CP cost for attack cards in the journal, the same can't be done for any other cards, and so the player is completely in the dark in regards to what to choose in a specific scenario. I've done a lot of tests to figure out the values of the three most important stats for magic cards: damage, break recovery and CP cost. As always, it should be noted that the information has been empirically gathered by playing on proud mode. In the video on how to best use your attack cards, we introduced a damage scale, where we defined the lowest tier D to have a power of 1. For every increase in tier, the power increases by 1, so a D+ has a power of 2 and the star tier has a power of 8. With the mentioned damage scale, a fire card has a power of 10, a fire slide has a power of 20, and a Firaka has a power of 30. This means that using a Firaka slide and a Keyblade with a power of D 30 times does the same amount of damage, assuming that the enemy doesn't have any resistances that interferes. Blizzard has a slightly lower damage at a power of 8, but in return it fires 3 shots. Blizzara has a power of 14 and costs 5 shots, and last but not least, Blizzaka has a power of 22 and fires 7 shots. While it might seem that Blizzard's attacks are much better than fire, it should be noted that each enemy can only be hit by 1 shot. This means that bosses, where it's against a single enemy, fire does more damage, but against a horde of enemies, Blizzard easily wins. The Thunder-based spells are a bit like the Blizzard-based ones, in the way that each enemy is restricted to only one lightning bolt. Thunder has a power of 7, Thundara has a power of 12, and Thundaga has a power of 18. All of the spells create about 10 lightning bolts. The cure spells of course doesn't do damage, but it is interesting to see how much the different spells heal. A normal cure heals 50 HP, while Cura and Curaga heals 150 HP and 300 HP respectively. So you have to use 3 cures to get the effect of a Cura, and you have to use 2 curas to get the effect of a Curaga. As you probably know from Kingdom Hearts 1, gravity does relative damage and thus can be either extremely powerful or completely useless. Gravity takes about 20% of an enemy's remaining health, Gravira takes 40% and Gravika takes 70%. If your math skills are a little rusty, I can inform you that using gravity 2 times doesn't give the same result as a Gravira. It only takes 36% of the enemy's health. Using Gravira twice takes away 64% of the enemy's health. Stop magic is known for not doing any damage in Kingdom Hearts, and this carries over to Chain of Memories. The only parameters that increases with Stopra and Stopka is the radius and duration of the effect. Stop, Stopra and Stopka stops enemies for 3, 5 and 7 seconds respectively. The last magic is Arrow, and it deals AoE damage, so the damage it can do depends on the amount of enemies you can chuck into its radius of effect. Arrow has a power of 6, Aurora has a power of 12, and Aroga has a power of 18. Looking at the first 3 magic cards we covered, Fire, Blizzard and Thunder, Fire deals the most damage per enemy with a power of 30, and is very controlled with its homing. Unfortunately, it can only hit a single enemy. Blizzaka is a bit weaker per enemy and a bit less controlled, but it can do more damage overall, up to 154. Thunder is completely uncontrolled but has the highest overall damage with 180. Now let's jump into the segment about break recovery. If you're unfamiliar with the term, it is simply the time it takes before Sora can do something after one of his cards has been broken. The previous video on this subject also featured a section where we talked about break recovery. We found out that the attack card used these tiers, and the break times that correspond to those tiers are these. Notice how we don't have the plus tiers anymore, and how the D tier is missing. It turns out that internally the same tiers and times are used for magic cards, so let's cover what tier break recovery the different magic cards have. Fire, Blizzard, Thunder, Gravity and Stop all have an A tier, which is approximately 0.83 seconds. Cure and Arrow have a start tier, Break Recovery, which is approximately 0.66 seconds. The break recovery times of all the second and third tier magic spells is easy to remember. It is simply the previously unused D tier. Looking at the other tiers from before, a little pattern recognition should reveal that the time is 8/6 of a second, which is approximately 1.33 seconds. When talking about break recovery, you have to be a bit cautious. The break recovery can change midways in a slide, as the time is dependent on what attack, spell or item card you use. If you for instance create a slide consisting of 2 blizzards in a row and then a fire, the game will tell you that the slide is called Blizzara, but the break recovery of Blizzara only applies to the portion of the slide where Blizzara is used. When you cast the fire portion of the slide, the break recovery is that of a fire card. Another exception to keep in mind is that if your card or slide is broken by a card of the same value, then the break recovery will get 0.1 second faster. The last stat, required CP, is how much it costs to get a card into a deck. In the last video, we covered that the CP cost for A, B, C, D and star cards is as follows, where the number is the value of the card. So playing a number 5 card with the CP cost of C cost 33, 25 for the 1 card and then 4 times 2 for the increase to 5. The cards Fire, Blizzard and Thunder are all A tier cards, while Gravity, Stop and Arrow are B tier cards. Cure, as the only magic card, is a C tier card. A card being premium takes the cost down to the same as a 1 card of that tier. That's all for this video, so thanks for watching, I hope you've enjoyed and I'll see you in the next one.